Hi guys, how are you doing? All good, I hope. So we've just got off Anthem of the Seas on a 7-night cruise to Norway. So I thought I'd do a reasonably quick video on the entire cruise as a whole and perhaps some specifics. So we've cruised with Royal Caribbean before, but this is our first since COVID. In fact, our last cruise was on Navigator of the Seas in 2018. So a lot has changed. The whole check-in process has changed. For those of you who've cruised before us, you'll obviously know that it's all pretty much done on the app now, and the check-in process is done via the app, and it's pretty slick and straightforward now. So with regards to embarkation, it was so straightforward, it was nearly ridiculous. I think we were probably on the ship in about 20 minutes, something like that. We made a little bit of a hiccup on arrival at Southampton. Where we had the luggage drop, there was a queue, and we assumed that we needed to stand in the queue to drop our luggage off, but we were later informed that we already had tags on our bags, and we could have just dropped our bags off, so we probably could have been on even quicker. So actually, boarding the ship was fab. The check-in process with the person at the gate there, you go through security like you do at an airport. They check you in on an app. They check your set sail passes. You use your set sail pass to get on the ship. And what we did, because now the muster drill isn't like it used to be before, where you used to all stand on deck for 15 or 20 minutes with your life jackets on. You can just attend your muster station, get yourself checked in, listen to the person there informing you of how you put your life jacket on, etc, etc. And you're away again, probably 10 or 15 minutes, I guess. And we were wandering around the ship. We've never been on Anthem before, but the layout is very similar to the Independence, so it wasn't too difficult to find your way around, to be honest. The ship itself obviously is fantastic. For those of you who've cruised on Anthem before, it's a really nice ship to sail on. Loads of entertainment venues, bars. You've got a nightclub there as well. It's not a dedicated nightclub, it's down in 270. I think it was only used once on this cruise. And it's called, or when it's open, it's called Red. We managed to get up on the North Star. What I would say is, obviously, when the North Star is being used at sea, I believe there's a charge, something like £30 per person. We actually waited until we were on a port day, and it was free. As it goes, we didn't have to wait very long. We tried to book, but we just went and waited up by the North Star, by the bar, had a chat with the person there with the clipboard, and I think we were on in about 10 minutes. I think, from my point of view, I'm not a great fan of heights, but I did it anyway because it's there. The North Star goes up, 300 feet? So, one thing we didn't see being used at all, and it wasn't advertised, was the ice flow. I don't think it was in operation. I didn't see it used once. I didn't hear it mentioned at all. And like before, I didn't use the flow rider. I did that in 2008. I'm a little bit older, a few more chins now, and a little bit less fit than I was then. But it was in operation a couple of times. But the ship in general is fab. Can't really fault it at all. As for the service, so we used 2 of the specialty dining venues on this cruise. We had some onboard credit. So we went to Wonderland and we went to Izumi. Wonderland is different for those of you who've been to Wonderland before on any of the Royal Caribbean ships that have got Wonderland. I think it's one of those things that you have to do, or you could do once. I don't think we'll do it again. Unusual, yes, but I don't think we'll do it again. Not because the food was bad or the service was bad, it wasn't. It's just one of those things that you personally, I don't think you need to do twice. Izumi, again, the service was fine, the food was fine, but I don't think we do it again. Again, absolutely no problem with the food, no problem with the service, it was fab. Just simply, it's kind of been ticked off now. And I think when we do cruise again with Royal Caribbean, which is going to be next year on the same ship, Anthem of the Seas, back down to the back down to the Canaries. We've done that cruise a few times. We've done it on Navigator and Anthem. Yeah, Navigator and Independence, not Anthem. We'll stick with Chops Grill if we're going to use any of the specialty dining venues. They're fab, the service is great, but I think it's one of those things that unless... Washing machine alarm. I'm not going to apologise, we're not long off the ship. We've opened our cases and it's been like an explosion of washing, and that's the washing machine alarm going off telling me the washing is finished, so it'll probably go off again at some point. So this is a pretty real video, to be honest. The main dining room was awesome, the food was fantastic and the service was fantastic as well. I've seen a number of, before we cruised, we watched a number of videos of people's experiences with the new menu on Royal Caribbean, the slimmed down slimmed down menu on Royal Caribbean, and some of the YouTube channels that I've watched have suggested that the food was below par. Well, I can tell you that wasn't the case on Anthem on this cruise. The food was fab. Only on one occasion, I think it was a lasagna we had. It could have been a little bit hotter, but that's from a personal point of view. And I generally think they can't send out food that's absolutely piping hot just in case it burns someone, I guess. The food itself was fab. We didn't send it back because it was edible. It just wasn't piping hot. It was very nice, in fact. And our waiters, Anthony and Jose, were great all week. They were really fab. Our stateroom attendant, oh crikey, can't remember his name. I'm really sorry, chap. He was also really good. And I got to be honest, any members of the crew that we met, that we talked to, any members of the engineering team that were wandering around, pretty much anyone that we had an interaction with, were good. Really good. Really nice peeps. We did hear a few people grumbling about one thing or the other, and I'll come to my gripes, and some of them are personal, and one of them is regarding Royal. One particular area, I think they could get better, but I think that area is cruise industry specific, but we'll come to that in a bit. So yeah, food and service was fab. The itinerary itself, we've never been to Norway, we've never been up there. We were planning on going up about 3 years ago on P&O Iona, but that was cancelled due to COVID. So we went up this time. The weather was awesome, and we had some fantastic experiences with regards to what we did. So for example, in Stavanger, we jumped on a rib, so the rigid inflatable boats, which took us up the fjord nearly just about 2 hours. I think it was 1 hour and 45. That was awesome. Again, bucket list kind of stuff. And then we took the Lowen skylift just outside Olden up to the top of the fjord there. I would say that if you're going to visit Olden and you're going to use the Lowen skylift, have a look on Google and check out the webcam first, because we did that and we noticed that even though there was some seriously low cloud in the fjord, it was very foggy when we sailed in, the webcam showed blazing sunshine at the top of the fjord there. So we went up there and the views were spectacular as we went up through the cable car, through the cloud, and burst through the cloud. It was one of those total wow moments. It was awesome. Something really money can't buy. And we spent, I think we stayed at the top there for about 1.5 hours. There was some absolute nutcases jumping off, parascending back down the fjords. Not for me, I'm afraid. Not a chance. I've got some images of that. I'll try and tag them in a bit later on when I edit this. But yeah, so the views from up there were spectacular. On the way back down, there was quite a queue for people going up. People who'd stayed on the ship, they'd seen the fog. They hadn't got off. They waited for the fog to burn off. And the queue then was pretty extensive. We got to the top of the fjord at Lowen. I think it was about 9:30, 10:15. And the views, again, I'm going to tag in some images of the views that we got up there with the low hanging cloud down in the fjord. It was awesome. It was absolutely fantastic. We also, on the way out through Gorenga, the weather was fantastic, the scenery was spectacular, sailing past the Seven Sisters waterfall, which was awesome. And what the captain did, I'm not quite sure if it was ship specific or because the weather was right, I don't know, but he spun the Anthem of the Seas round 360 degrees in the middle of the fjord, so everybody could get a view of the waterfalls on both sides. It was pretty spectacular to see this huge behemoth of a ship. What's the Anthem? I think it's something like 168,000 tons or something like that, with 4,000 people on board, literally doing a 360 right in the middle of the fjord. It was something else, and to come to a full stop right next to the Seven Sisters as well. So pretty much everybody got a view, and again I'll make an effort of tagging in some images in this video so you can all see it. We moving on to Haugesund. I hope that's how it's pronounced. A really nice town with bucket loads of history, but I think if we go there again we will probably stay on the ship. There's plenty to do, like I say, there's loads of history there, but there's also, there's, when we were there was an oil platform there, a lot of oil storage or petroleum storage. So I think we'll probably stay on the ship there. We've been there now, but again, don't let me put you off, that's just my opinion. There's plenty of excursions you can do. We did get off when we went to the virtual Viking museum, which was very interactive and very clever. But yeah, so and then from Haugesund we sailed back down to Southampton. So overall it was a really fab cruise with great crew, a great ship, and we met some great people. Just touching on the entertainment on the ship, when I've watched lots of videos about different cruise lines out there and their kind of level of entertainment, if you like. Well, I've got the list here of some of the entertainment that we had on board, so if you bear with me, I'll just grab it. So we had Jamie Allen, who was a magician, an extremely clever magician, well worth, if you come across that chap on a ship or out and about, it's well worth going to see. Then we had David Copperfield, not the David Copperfield, a David Copperfield, who was an all-round entertainer and pretty funny. Very good actually. Vocalist, guitarist, comedian, pretty much an all-round entertainer. So that was a really good evening out. John Maloney, the comedian, we went to see him. Very good again, some proper belly laughs from that chap. We went to see Spectra's Cabaret down in 270 on the back end of Anthem. It's a nice big entertainment venue with robotic screens. That was quite good, a little bit different. Again, one of those things that I think once you've done, you probably wouldn't do again. I think it was on for three, they had 3 shows of that on our cruise. The Gift, which was to quote, a musical journey of fantasy and illusion. It was very clever. I found the story a little bit difficult to follow, but the production itself was awesome. It was really good, really clever. The 70s Inferno Disco and the greatest 80s parties were all fab, but to be honest, the one that really knocked our socks off was We Will Rock You, which we saw yesterday afternoon, so that'll be Saturday the 9th of September. Full-on West End production, and it was fantastic. I mean, proper blown away by that. I don't know, because we haven't really cruised with that many other cruise companies before. We are booked on with NCL, and we've booked a cruise with MSC next year to find out or to get a feel for those companies as well. But yeah, We Will Rock You was absolutely outstanding. If you get the opportunity to watch it, if you're travelling on the Anthem, you're cruising on the Anthem, and you're wondering whether or not to go and watch We Will Rock You, it's definitely worth the effort. But what I would say is, whichever production you go to see, you're going to have to queue up. We waited outside the theatre for about 45 minutes, I think it was, touching an hour, to be able to make sure we got a seat. And just as the show was starting, there was still people, coming in trying to get a seat for that show. A very popular show, no doubt about it, and it was absolutely freaking awesome. Well worth the effort. So yeah, on the whole, we had a great time. As for gripes, so the one thing I would really suggest, and as I mentioned before, I think this is a industry-wide problem at the moment, is staff. The staff that were on, the waiting staff, the bar staff, the hotel staff, they work tirelessly for you on your holiday. But on one occasion, two occasions, I waited an awful long time at the bar for some drinks. Previously on the other cruises that we've done with RCI, on Independence and Navigator and even Legend going back 2005, there was waiting staff all over the place. You'd have waiters wandering around taking drink orders. They worked tirelessly hard to make sure that you got your drinks, but often they would take perhaps 15 or 20 orders, and it would take them perhaps 15 or 20 minutes to get all those orders together, then walk back around with them. We found more often than not we would move away from where the crowds were and go and find a quiet bar somewhere. Perhaps if it was really busy down in the pub or the music hall, we'd go up and sit on deck where it was quiet on the pool decks and get a few drinks up there, and then perhaps come back down later on. It's nothing to do with the staff, the waiting staff, the bar staff. They work really hard, but there just simply wasn't enough of them on at least two occasions. And my other gripe, and it's probably more of a personal one than anything, is people. It seems to me that a lot of people lose their manners when they go on holiday. Basic stuff like please and thank you and being barged out the way. On one occasion, we were making our way to dinner, and it was full one night, so the photographers were out in force. Photographers trying to take a shot of people wanting their picture taken, so we all waited back. This person decided he didn't want to wait, and thought it would be a good idea to try and barge past me. At which point I pointed out to him that might not be in his best interests. I kind of mentioned that the dining room isn't going anywhere; it's still going to be there. When the photographer moves out the way, we can all move. That wasn't the only occasion, and there were plenty of other occasions where just please and thank you were totally absent. Manners don't cost anything. Please and thank you, they don't cost anything at all, do they? But again, that's a personal gripe, nothing to do with Royal Caribbean. It's just, I feel that some people go on holiday, whether it's cruise specific, I don't know, but particularly on this cruise, there's a lot of quite rude people. But that's just my personal gripe. Anyway, peeps, I hope this video has been helpful. I'm going to try and tag in some photos into this image when I edit it. I apologise for my slightly dishevelled look. This is probably the only clean t-shirt I got left, and I haven't shaved. We've got two cases full down here to my left, full of stuff that needs to be washed, ironed and put away, ready for our next cruise, of which we've got coming up reasonably shortly. But there we go, folks. Let me know in your comments if you sailed on Anthem, how you found the entertainment, how you found the crew, and did you have any experiences with frankly rude people. There we go, folks. Thanks for your time. I appreciate you watching. We are over there on TikTok as well, Dom and Helen Cruises, so feel free to look us up and give us a follow. Anyway, nice to see you, peeps. See you all soon. Bye bye.